I think that many of the personnel decisions have already been made. I'm not sure, but I believe that. And I do believe that they will take into careful consideration the suggestions that we've made.
I'd be very disappointed if they don't take those items into consideration.
And any other specific positions that may be at jeopardy if the budget gets passed?
We're not privy to that information. We're not included in any of the actual union negotiations, so we don't know.
Okay.
We just wanted to make the recommendations based on the material that we were provided.
Is there any kind of rebuttal that you guys can make afterwards, after they make a decision?
But we do need to.
Okay.
But what is it? I don't know at this point, but we do need to.
Okay.
You went down to grab
The council has asked that the budget committee be an ongoing body to continue to make recommendations along the way. So I think that we just need to see what results of this initial push.
Okay.
I just want it to be very diplomatic. I want everybody to consider the job, the position, the title, the years. That's fine. Just be diplomatic and fair about it. That's all I ask. I don't mean any harm to anybody. Everybody defended their title once upon a time, and so will I. It is what it is, and I just hope the best for the city of King, and eventually council will have the last word on it, and I just want it to be fair.
They've talked about pink slips, and my job is on the line. Just like your council needs to look at all the possibilities of every way to save money, and that's just being responsible. I have told them that from the beginning, that they need to look at everything, including my job. It will be difficult. It will definitely create problems for, it will make every other department head's job harder. It'll make the city manager's job quite a bit harder, and it will impact every employee. I don't provide services directly to the public like the cops do, or the firemen do, or the public works, so it may not be as apparent, at least not right away, to the public, but it certainly will have repercussions for the entire city. The Budget Committee really has two roles. One is the short-term problem, but also a long-term problem. They will, and the Budget Committee is advisory. Mm-hmm. So they give advice to council. Council is the one who really have to make the decisions. I'm certain that they will take some of the recommendations and follow them, and probably not all. They will follow some recommendations, but not. And the Budget Committee shouldn't feel bad about that.
Right.
Because the Budget Committee is, giving their best advice. And not all advice is always followed,
Right.
Whether it's from professional staff or from volunteers like the Budget Committee.
Well, it's actually, concerning. Obviously, it's going to affect all entities of the municipality, not just the police department. And so, the taxpayers are the ones who are going to be affected by it more than the employees. Unfortunately, they will more than likely will suffer some layoffs, which is very unfortunate. But the city council is going to, who are responsible for governing the city, are going to just have to do what they have to do. 2005, when I took over as the police chief, the city was at that time 2 weeks away from bankruptcy, and we already slashed our patrol staff in half. That's no secret to anybody. We were a very, very busy agency. We have a lot of crime here in King City, and therefore we're already working at a 2-man minimum. So I don't foresee how they could potentially cut any more staff than what's already been cut. Talk of merging, but that's going to be quite a bit down the road. Right now we're sharing resources, as you all know, through the 4 Cities for Peace program and the CalGrip operations that we've been doing. So we have been sharing some resources. And then I believe the city managers are in talks right now of possibly sharing some public works services also, but I'd leave that up to the city manager to comment on that.
I'm impressed. It clearly shows that they spent a lot of time and due diligence in a very short period of time, because it's not easy to understand a city's budget. So I'm impressed with their recommendation. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Basically, as we've been looking at it, everything's on the table. We have to look at all available options. This also is the second set of recommendations that the Budget Committee has given us. They gave us a set of recommendations about a month ago, and some of those items we were able to implement right away, and there were some really good recommendations in there. Some of these others that they're recommending are either long-term in nature or ones that are subject to union negotiations. We're willing to consider all of them, absolutely. And so during our budget workshop, we'll be taking a look at those, as well as all the other recommendations and ideas that we've come up with. but we're willing to consider anything.
Okay.
They had some interesting recommendations, and they had previously submitted recommendations, and staff is working on a number of them. As I understood the recommendation of the Budget Committee, they were looking at trying to develop outside resources to help fund the rec department. The recreation department on a receipt basis loses money every year. However, all of us pay property taxes and sales tax that goes into fund it, but it definitely is not a money making proposition. In fact, if you look at it on a enterprise type basis, recreation programs, primarily the pool, lose money.
Right.
And that's where the policy debate comes in. Should the tax dollars that come in help pay to keep that pool open, or should we try to find other ways of raising revenue to offset pool and recreational programs? Something to be developed. Well, all of the positions are subject to negotiations and meet and confer process, so I can't comment on anything along those lines. Well, notices, as was said today, notices have gone out for layoffs.
They selected a great budget committee. I think the information they provided should be really taken into consideration. They know what they are doing. They did a thorough job. They actually came up with the figures to save jobs and to help the city get back on track.